Mr. Vivek and Mandarji, friend Kashyap, and friends and associates, leaders of the Dalit movement, BC movement, and human rights movement. I'm really honored. Probably for the first time, many things have happened. First time, I've been introduced as a Christian, and a Dalit Christian. It's good. Maybe I have tried to run away from my identity. Because Kashyap has generously given me 25 minutes, probably I should delve on that a little. Why is it that people like me are running away from my identity? Christian identity. I'm not accepted as a scheduled caste for different kind of reasons. I am a Dalit. I'm an untouchable. I'm proud to be from the legacy of tremendous, resilient community of this country, and even before India became India, the expanse of the whole large part of Asia, which is now South Asia, has primarily been built by my grandmothers, your grandmothers, and great-grandmothers. I'm also, some of you who may not be from this community, but I think we are all working towards that common community which have slowed to build what we are today. At some point I would like to delve on it, but just to say in the beginning, it was only after Kandamal I have adamantly insisted that I'm also a Christian. What's the problem if I'm a Christian? I have rejected the ideology of caste. I don't believe that human beings, and much less my mother and my father and many people like me, are not equal to the others. I don't subscribe to the Vedic Brahmanistic hierarchy. And my great-grandmother, who was murdered, whose husband was murdered, and she ran away, and she worked as a maid in an officer's house at that time. She had the balls, she had the courage to reject the entire society around her who abused her. And she said, I will not die, I will not commit suicide, I will bring my only son and see that he will fight the system. And that young boy whom she fled away with, I think she was about 5 years old at the time. I do not know whether at that time she got inspired, whom inspired her, but then he studied, he became one of the first deputy collectors of black skin, Indian skin in South India. And became, his sons I think became many civil servants and doctors in those days. From my mother's side, my great-grandmother's side, ran away. And she was picked up by Ida Scudder. And she was one of the first Indian women medical doctors who served Budlavalli. It's a village in Andhra. And all Kama, the present political CPI leaders who come from that Gudivada and all that have been, the delivery has taken place because of her. Because they would not allow any other men to touch her. A great legacy, but still considered untouchable. They at that time found some solace in Christianity, and they turned Christians. Okay, I have my problem with Christians, because after gaining this individual freedom, they thought they came from heaven and they forgot about the people around, and they started thinking there's somebody else. Okay, that's a different issue. Hinduism, and they have taken up this, and they started Ambedkar Vanijya Sangha. Welcome, sir. Ambedkar Vanijya Sangha. They did not start Mother Mary Vanijya Sangha. They did not start Jesus or Mary or Joseph. They started Ambedkar Vanijya Sangha. Most of them are Christians. Adivasi, SCs. And because of that, the dominant caste, RSS, VHP, saw that their verdict of exclusion is not anymore tolerated. That their children, that these who were once outcast, they are wearing white clothes, they are wearing better, they are talking better, they are talking in certain languages which they themselves don't understand. And that's when this whole fight in the name of religion came. It's nothing to do with religion, sorry. It's to do with the caste and the challenge that they had given to the Hindutva forces, the dominant casteist forces. But that's not my main thing. I just wanted to share that after Kadamala I started saying, I'm a Christian. If you have a problem that thinking that Christians can't be Indians, that Muslims can't be Indians, sorry, that we are equal contributors, that we have fought for the country and we have participated in nation building, but not just participated, we have owned national building. We own this country. If not for us, the democracy will not be as strong as it is today. But that's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to stick to the topic that is organizers have given, and I'd like to share it briefly and crisply, and even before the time that is allotted to me, I'll try to finish. I want to just talk about three aspects. One, Ambedkar's philosophy, but instead of talking about educate, organize, agitate, I would like to bring core characters which have strengthened not the Dalits, of course Dalits have been respected, which has strengthened the democracy of this country. And I think that, unfortunately, the dominant castes are not willing to accept. They can't think that a person who's been shunned, a person who's been thrown away, and a group which has been pushed down and pulled down and then trampled by the legs, as today is able to get into the nation building. They can't think, they can't accept that kind of a fact. But that's what I would like to talk about. And flowing from that, I would like to say that many of us are suffering not so much by a Brahmin sitting on our head, but because we have internalized the casteist feelings and we have not rejected that internalization of the casteist feelings which Baba Sahib has meant by this parivartan. Because Baba Sahib is one thing that he has done, which is towards the end of his life. Of course, a lot of people say it's conversion. I think we need to say it's a parivartan, transformation. And a transformation from a person who has been internalized the caste structure to literally liberate their whole community, to extricate that casteism which has been taken roots in us. And I feel that is the second important aspect that we have to consider if we want to be part of the nation building. That we cannot be partake in nation building if you don't reject the internalization of casteism. That even though we have transformed ourselves from untouchability, we still consider ourselves that no, we cannot do this. No, I'm a victim. No, this kind of a thing, I think, something. And I'm saying this not because it's an internal dialogue. We would not do that externally. And therefore, I feel time has come ideology, and how we need to somehow stress on rejecting the internalization which has been branched into my consciousness. And it's not a Brahmin. There is a Brahmin in my mind which is so easily, so very, even before the Brahmin says, this person in my mind says that you are an untouchable and therefore don't attempt that. You are good, but you don't attempt it. You are a human rights defender, but there are limitations in how much you can do. You are an executive, but you can't do it. Somebody else will have to do it for you. You are an officer, but you are not able to do because your hands are tied. So somewhere we need to bridge. So I would like to portray Baba Saheb in three aspects. One, as an academic. Two, as an activist. And three, as a policymaker. When many of us say, Chavi is only political party, so I will not do anything, but I will only do this political party, I think we have misunderstood those aspects. Today we know that even if you are in a political party, there is very less that you can do. But as a policy maker and a policy implementer, wherever you are, there is a tremendous amount that we can do. So there is an academic, as an activist, and as a policy maker. How do you triangulate these powers of being knowledge creator, of being